I'm Ashton Addison from EventChain for Investment Pitch Media and the Crypto Coin Show. And today on Blockchain Interviews, we have Dan Gunsberg, the co-founder and CEO of Hxro. Dan, welcome to the show, and thanks for taking the time to be here today.
Thanks for having me, Ashton. Happy to be here.
I'm really excited to dive into Hxro. Your team is working on some really interesting initiatives, and I would just love to start it off for the viewers with an overview and the focus at a high level of Hxro and the platform you're working on.
Sure. So Hxro Network is a decentralized liquidity network for risk-based applications built on the Solana blockchain. We're developing a series of native protocols that will provide the framework and infrastructure for what will be a robust, fully functional, decentralized exchange for vanilla, which are standardized options, exotic options, and parimutuel option markets.
Wow.
I guess also, 100% of the network's value will accrue back to staked Hxro token holders, to specialized node operators within the network treasury, and developer pools, all who are a part of the Hxro network ecosystem. And yeah.
Yeah, it's quite an interesting initiative, and it's good to see more options-related trading in crypto. You don't hear about it as often, but obviously it's a huge market to be getting into. And your platform
Absolutely.
is the fact that it's becoming a decentralized options marketplace, and there's like that community building and giving back to the community to sort of gamify the crypto trading. Can you just go into a little bit more into how that decentralized ecosystem part makes it more than just trading options in traditional finance?
Yeah, absolutely. As I mentioned, so one point of this is that the value accrual of the network goes back to token holders and to to people or wallets who are putting forth some type of effort into the network ecosystem. And a lot of it for us really, obviously there are many benefits that have been proven out by forming a network around an idea or a project or a series of protocols, which have proved very successful, in the blockchain space. But also for us, we kind of took a step back and thought, what's been going on in the world the last year or two, and there's kind of this like mega inequality that's kind of existed, and the things that have been built in blockchain kind of, that are more giving some level of like social thought, have really helped like alleviate a lot of this. And, it's really giving everybody a chance and kind of flattening out the world, so to speak, by giving everybody an opportunity to participate in a network that is transactional, that really what's sitting on top of it is an exchange, or what will end up being different exchanges. And being able to participate in it without needing to be a part of some closed old boys network, or very agnostic geographically. And it's really in this meritocratic approach where if you're providing value to the ecosystem, whether as a speculator, a liquidity provider, a participating in governance, whatever it is, you're fairly rewarded for that. So, we really believe in that, and we kind of believe that the next generation of businesses really will be revolve around these types of networks. And, it really is a way that not only could solve economic issues globally, but also social.
That's great, Dan. And you mentioned there at the beginning that there's a few different types of options that are going to be first available when you have the decentralized marketplace live. Can you just elaborate into what are the different options and assets available from the get-go?
Yeah, sure. So initially we're launching our Paramutual Options, which currently today underpin a parimutuel market on Hxro.io, which is our current front end. And those are effectively a type of exotic option that have a paramutualized payoff, which means that the each event or each options contract is based on a pool of assets, which in a market it's effectively saying like, will the price be higher or lower when it closes during this time period than when it opens. And all of those positions are pooled together, and then the side that is in the money splits that pool pro rata. And so that is something that we've been applying to digital assets. And what is the way that we look at it is that we had one interpretation of it, but there's many other interpretations of it, and we have this belief that there will actually be trading on everything eventually. It's just the continued financialization of data and of just everything that kind of goes on in the world. And even if you look back and you can go look at the younger generation who's involved in things like Roblox. Like my partner and I, my co-founder and I talk quite a bit about our children being in Roblox and talking about things like is that trade value? Like, does it meet value? Is it rich or cheap? And like they're saying these things to us and they're 9 or 10 years old, and we're trying to say like, well, what is the world going to look like 10, 20 years out? And we want to position for that. And so while it's starting in things like digital assets, obviously it can go into anything from sporting events, or like if you look at what's going on in the betting world, in-game betting is very popular right now, which effectively is trading. So there is this like merging of kind of all of this going into one, and it could be anything from that to things that can be deemed as commodities, or it could be on hash rate in the Bitcoin market, or it could be on bandwidth, access bandwidth for in data centers that ends up being commodities. It could be one of anything, and we're really trying to set this network to position to take to capture that as things evolve over coming years.
Definitely. Dan, I think that's a great approach to it because, as you mentioned, there's so many different markets, and prediction markets, as an example you gave, are seemingly growing larger and larger as people are starting to trade on, almost trade on anything. So yeah, it's very cool. And you mentioned bringing the community into it, getting them involved and having them rewarded for contributing to the network. And I was looking into the network details for Hxro, and I saw that you're utilizing the Solana blockchain technology. And I was curious if you could touch on, why Solana's blockchain is the best ecosystem for this type of platform, and why you went with that.
Absolutely. Solana, just hands down, where their technology was at, if you're doing something that is high transaction, highly transactional, requires high throughput, and requires a very low cost basis in terms of fee, there's no other blockchain better than Solana for that purpose. And even the backgrounds of the founders and the engineers is really in high speed. Like Anatoly's background is was working I think for Qualcomm, doing things that are around high speed packet capture and things like that. And a lot of building the Solana reminds me of when we were first getting into high frequency trading in the legacy trading, kind of in the traditional finance trading side of things. And it just worked really well with us. We've been partners with FTX on a project, on one of our products on our on Hxro.io, and that obviously Sam's influence and involvement with the Solana network, Sam Fried, really gave us a good insight into what the possibilities are there. They launched Serum on it. We are going to be composing with Serum on some, there's kind of some things that are joining at the seams in terms of utilizing some of their markets and some of the protocols that exist there. And the whole thing just made sense. And, and we tried to really step back, and we felt like the whole world was moving towards Ethereum on things, and Ethereum just didn't meet the requirements that we had for what we wanted to build now and into the future. And Solana made perfect sense.
That's great to hear. And yeah, it does seem like the FTX and Sam's ecosystem is exploding right now with value. And I think it's the right time to be in there and to be partnered with that whole ecosystem it sounds like the right move. And I wanted to know if your team, I know you've been working on Hxro, and it's been an evolution building into this decentralized option marketplace, and it's been around for quite a while. And if you could talk about any other partnerships that you have or that you have in the works, with inside of the Solana ecosystem and outside.
Sure. I mean, just in terms of participation from various VCs and stuff who have really taken a position in the network and in what we're doing. We've had some real marquee partners in that way. Alameda Research, Three Arrows Capital, CMS Holdings, Arca Funds, Coin Fund, Ledger Prime, Genesis, all some real marquee names kind of in the trading side of things in the space, and they've been a big value add, and we're going to be doing a strategic round soon, bringing in some an additional round of participants to the network who we think really can add value to it. That's one. And then within the Solana ecosystem, we've been talking quite a bit with Radium, Oxygen, starting to talk with Pith Network. Jump Trading is a partner of ours, and they've been kind of a lot of the push behind and the effort behind Pith Network, and obviously Jump Trading reputation precedes itself as one of the top in TradFi in terms of liquidity providers, market makers, and trading firms on the planet. And so who understands better about doing things at an exchange level than them, and them being a part, building an Oracle out really has a lot of potential for us, especially at the frequency that we need to be turning data over. So talking to them, obviously some of the, we've been talking with Chainlink for a while on some other things around, data oracles, and nothing to announce yet, but I think the names that I mentioned, we're all pretty close to doing something with. So pretty exciting.
That is very exciting. And yeah, some of those VC partners are, I know that they're doing great things in the space. So definitely good to be partnered with them. And you mentioned they're increasing the liquidity in the early stages where it's a community participation of being able to add liquidity and being able to get rewards for that. Are you providing any incentives or marketing for early adopters to get involved as community participants in the Hxro network, or are you expecting it to be a lot of organic growth or just a mixture of both?
A mixture of both. Both of the main protocols that are backing the both the Paramutual markets and the vanilla options markets, which is the second protocol that we're building, and the protocol around the vanilla options will also carry over into the exotics. Both of those are AMMs that have a little bit of a different spin. They're not constant function. They actually what they do is they, like in the case of the Paramutuals. So Paramutuals, when you look at a Paramutual market, especially a two-sided one, you're really more or less looking at what the probabilities of outcome are going to be on each side, like if you were a trader. And so you have these providers who provide to an oracle in the system probabilities, like at a regular interval leading up to the opening of the contract, and based on those probabilities, the oracle then takes from the liquidity pool and basically places the optimal position in terms of base liquidity for each contract. And the idea behind that is that over time, the way that thing runs, and it runs intelligently, is it's actually operating at a zero to slightly positive expected value. And it is participating, the liquidity pool and the probability providers are both participating in the transaction fees of the network that's coming from everybody else who's participating in that particular contract. So that's one way. The same concept in vanilla options, except instead of providing probabilities, they're doing something a little different that I won't disclose yet, but I kind of want to save it for one of our next announcements. Very exciting way that we're looking at building an AMM and liquidity in what will end up being a very robust vanilla options protocol. And then also volume tier incentive rebates, like a lot of what we're looking at, and a lot of what you see in markets, in decentralized exchanges, and just crypto markets as a whole, they're replicating the things that have happened, in exchanges forever. Like a lot of the liquidity that you see on the Chicago Mercantile Exchange, for example, is really by trading members who are participating in volume tier incentive rebates and things like that, that are kind of benefits that you get for being a part of it. So the same context here, you're a part of the network and you're participating in the liquidity as a speculator or as a hedger, whatever it is. There is, and at the outset, we are committing the network Treasury is committing a specific amount of tokens, and then based on the volume per day, it will offer a reward to anybody who's participated in the network on a transaction for the day, and then based on the aggregate number, it will basically emit a certain, a certain amount and then distribute that pro rata to everybody. So a couple different ways to, to bring users into the network. And then also we're working with a couple of more traditional large scale liquidity providers who are going to be participating in the network. They're already committed to the network. Will be part of governance, part of everything, to really bolster that baseline liquidity. The AMMs will then bootstrap on top of that, and then the combination of everything. We're hoping to have the most liquid, decentralized network, on the planet pretty soon. So,
wow, that's very exciting, and it sounds like your team has a lot ahead, but it sounds like it's something that is going to provide a lot of value to the decentralized ecosystem, and I think that it's very much needed right now. And so, all the best with that. And what do you think with this? Seems like it's the next step, but there's it's a lot to add for traders that are just used to spot trading crypto and margin trading, and now adding in more financial products in the decentralized ecosystem. What do you think is going to be one of the key factors to success for getting not just crypto traders, but traditional finance traders into this decentralized ecosystem to have more widespread adoption long term?
Great question. A couple different pillars. Number one is that we have the concept of operator nodes. So it's almost like B2B relationships. If you think about the network as a whole, think about it as like the plumbing and the tooling, or like, in the Chicago Mercantile Exchange, for example, they have Globex, which is like the big matching engine that everything feeds into. All the liquidity, all the trading is done there. Same concept with our network and protocols. And then on top of it, are going to be operator nodes who are coming to the network, who are appending themselves to the network and grabbing the products out of there, and then offering those through their own UI, UX. And they may be facing different jurisdictions, have different compliance requirements, whatever it is. And that's right now. That's it's everything from we have sportsbook operators who are using our Paramutual markets actually to offer like a more simplistic way for their existing user base to trade Bitcoin, for example. And something, like somebody who is a sports bettor, they understand the concepts of Paramutual. So there's a nice bridge there that makes things a lot easier for them. So as opposed to us initially, and as opposed to the network trying to like capture and like go compete with everybody else, we're saying, no, like we're really here. We're the liquidity. We make it very easy to plug in, like building a whole SDK layer around it. Make it very easy for an operator on a B2B basis to plug in. There's a whole incentive scheme that gets worked through for them to participate, and it makes economic sense for them to be a part of the network. So that's one way that we're looking to bridge adoption and bring people into not only into Hxro Network, but by really capturing these existing user pools. The second thing, which is something that we work on very heavily and work on now, and we talked a little bit about gamifying trading. We look at it, and more gamifying is really a way for us to deliver something to the average user in a more simplistic way, and almost like not even simplistic as much as it is like someone can come to it and say, oh wait, I understand this. Like the concept of we have these products called Ticks and Wicks, and like Wicks, for example, is a one-touch options market. And so if you take Wix, like if I delivered it to you and like Wix is very much based on like probabilities of X happening. So similar to a prediction market in some way. If I approached it to you and was talking in probabilities, or I was talking in delta, which is like, you hear options traders talk to each other and they'll say like, this is a 50 delta option, like basically saying based on the model, like this means there's an implied 50% chance of it expiring in the money. And we've taken that concept and just like distilled it down to odds. So something that is a 20% chance of happening is a 5 to 1. And so we're taking things that, like, if I said 5 to 1 to anybody who kind of falls within a trading demographic, they're immediately going to understand it. If I start talking about option Greeks to them, they're not going to understand it. So it's at least, like, more often than not, they're not. And so at least it's a way to bring people in. And for us, it's really where that has transitioned to us, where it started as very gamey and kind of exciting. It's gone way more financially focused to us. And it's really about simplicity and trust of the platforms that are operating within the network, trust of the network. And then we have something called Hxro Labs that that we're continuing to build up, which is really there as content and as like educational content with the same type of mission to take the complex elements of trading and simplify it down, make it relatable, and just make it easier for the average participant to come in and participate.
Definitely. And for the viewers that are looking to start participating right away or just follow along with all these amazing updates that you're going to be bringing in the near future here, what's the best way for them to get involved with the community and to follow along?
Sure. So the easiest way is if you're on Twitter, you want to follow the progress of Hxro Network. You can go to @HXRO Network on Twitter is very easy. You can check hxro.network. There will be updates coming soon in terms of us. We're currently in a closed alpha as the protocols start opening up and rolling out. You can follow me. I am @HXROBTC on Twitter is a good way. And then if you're looking to, if you're outside the US, US is restricted, but you can go to hxro.io and become a part of, and start trading in the Paramutuals and in the two exotic products that we have, Wix options and Tix options. And you can do that right away, provided that you're non-US.
Great, Dan. I will leave all those links in the description box below as well for the viewers. All the best with the whole Hxro platform moving forward, and let's follow up in the near future.
Definitely, Ashton. Thank you so much for the time. I appreciate it.